So welcome everyone, really nice to meet you today. It's our kind of pre-opening of Moychay Tea House in Barcelona. Let me first say very few words about Moychay in general. We are focusing on developing of a tea culture. I started originally in Russia and we opened more than 27 branches there. About a year ago I decided to move out for a reason I think you know. But actually 4 years ago I already started also in Amsterdam, and now I'm based in Amsterdam, and we're focusing on developing modern type of tea houses in Europe. Now we focus on the European market, and we started from Amsterdam and we already worked for 2 years. Now we're planning to do the same in Barcelona. It will be a tea house when we gather all the tea cultures, international tea cultures, not only Chinese as a basic and most common tea culture, which you can know mostly about tea, about Chinese tea culture, but also Japanese tea culture, of course other Asian like Thai, like Vietnamese and whatever. We focused on yerba mate a little bit. Today we will have introduced to you not all of our products, but something special. So first we will start from my pin cha, how we call it in Chinese. It's a trying of a tea. It's not a tea ceremony, because for tea ceremony we need a little bit more cozy space, not so much people, not so much talks. It's more concentrated events, especially if we talk about Japanese tea ceremony. But even in China, if we talk about traditional tea houses, they take more attention on calmness and peace and relaxing. But here, of course, we will get it a little, but mostly we'll talk, and I will introduce you some teas, some collectible teas. So I will start from my ceremony, not a ceremony, but yeah, maybe 5-7 teas from my collection, different ones. Also, I will make boiling on open fire, one of the types. It's a very special type of Hei Cha, originate from Hubei province from 70s. It's a bit interesting brick. Yeah, this is a quite specific tea. I hope you like it. And also later, after Anna, our tea master, she's from Amsterdam, and she will introduce to you a masterclass for matcha and our herbal tea collection. And after, we will continue with some teas also from me, so it will be like more relaxed. Yeah. Also, this is not a lecture. Feel free to ask any questions, whatever. And then later, I will send to you this vessel. It's called in Chinese gun dao bei, or pitcher, or cup of furnace. And this is just for sharing tea. So as soon as you have this empty, please send it back to me. But before, you can smell a little bit the aroma from because when it's empty, because it's glass, all the essential oils from tea stick to the walls of the vessel, and it's very good aroma to smell from this vessel. So first we will try some tea. Very beginning, I think we can start from maybe let it be red tea, or let it be Taiwanese oolong, because now it's still warm and maybe some lighter tea is better. So it's Taiwanese oolong from last year winter season, because new winter season not come yet. I was last December I was in Taiwan, and actually I spent almost 10 years before COVID in China. There is my book. It's called Geography of Chinese Tea in the center. We can share and browse a little. I really sacrificed my life to tea, how we can say, because actually in general I work as a business. For me it's almost 17 years maybe. And before also like 3-4 years I also in tea, so maybe half of my life. I'm 41, I'm in tea. Yeah, so this is the only thing I know, but also now I focusing on research not only Chinese but also Vietnamese teas and Thailand, because during COVID and after COVID China was still closed till this year spring, but Thailand and Vietnam was already open, so I developed some Vietnamese relations and Thailand relations. We will try also some teas from there today, hopefully. And we start from high mountain oolong from Island. This is now Taiwan people call it Dailing, but actually Dailing oolong already not exists, because the plantation, Xue oolong plantation, was cut down around 10 years ago, I think, maybe even a bit later. And but now the tea from Cuifeng, it's also pretty high mountain area, more than 2,300 meters elevation, still operating, and tea from Cuifeng often Taiwanese people call Dailing, just because Dailing is a very famous brand. So oolong is, for those who don't know, who don't know what is oolong about? Everyone know, great. So in this case, I will not explain what is oolong, but I will just explain what is high mountain oolong and why it's actually valuable. Not only because it's very beautiful in the high mountain areas, but also because the crop grows much slower in high mountain area. And there's much more humidity, much more foggy area. And in this case, the tea also gets much more humidity, which is good. And also because it grows slowly, it gets more nutrition from the soil. And for some types of oolong, with this kind of more colder weather brings greater taste. I will share the cup of furnace. I will try to share more, so each of you will get one. Our goal for today to try maybe at least 10 types during first session. Also, guys, I forget to say that here they have a toilet. If someone wants to go, it's just here in the corner. Because for tea is important. They have some joke because I spent almost 10 years in China, as I said, and I just train my friends like the most important phrase you need to learn in Chinese is 洗手间哪里的? Toilet is where you can find a toilet. Yes, because when you drink tea alone, it's one of the most important things.
Bring more copies of your book.
Only one.
Only one.
Yeah, but it's possible to order, and hopefully soon we will have also online shop here. Even before we open a tea house, I hope during month or something, hopefully. Yeah, because guys just recently found a real estate property for the house, and the same we will need a small warehouse. Welcome, welcome. I see more and more people come. So guys, when you have empty pitcher like this, please send back to here. I see at least one. Yeah. Oh yeah. Just finish tea and send back, and we will refill. In this case, we will have more tea. Actually, tea in Taiwan was developed mostly after the Kuomintang party came to Taiwan. It was developed before in northern part of the island, but this high mountain tea mostly started in 60s because of many of Fujian farmers from Fujian province, mainland China. They came to Taiwan. We flee after the revolution in China, and they start grow the same oolongs they grow before. And mostly it's the people from Anxi, Zhaoan, Zhengzhou counties, Zhengzhou region, and also Pinhe in Nanjing, all the south in Fujian area, and a little bit from the north of Guangdong. And this area are mostly famous for oolong, actually. And this is why Gaoshan Cha, Oolong Cha, it's a very famous tea from Taiwan and #1 now. But before, Taiwanese do a lot of green tea and black tea. We can say like in Pinhe County, in also maybe central Taiwan, like Nantou region, also Hsinchu. There was a lot of farms which produce, till now they also produce tea, but their amount not comparable with what's produced in high mountain area of Taiwan. So which is actually, when you hear something like Taiwanese tea, which is most typical. Oolong, lighter one. Yeah, we will try also, I think the next, we will also tea from Taiwan, and it will be not typical Taiwanese tea. Yeah, this is also for those who want more of this. Then you have an empty pitcher. Please smell the aroma from it. I already said, but it's very aromatic. Empty pitcher contain all the essential oils on the walls. This is actually pretty thin, delicate aroma, not so intense, because it's already from last year, because this year winter harvest not yet started. So it's better to try in December, maybe January. Depending on the season. I will be in January in Taiwan this year again. I prefer more winter season to spring season because it tastes more intense, but it depends on the region, not all the time it's the same. Actually, I regularly spend at least 5 months a year on the plantations. So now we go to the next tea. Because today we have a pretty kind of, for us it's like a celebration, because we have our first event in Barcelona. We almost continue and hopefully soon finish our work on tea house. So we try mostly very specific teas, which are not common. So for those who maybe first come to tea and not very experienced, it will be very special. But even for those who are specialists in tea, even I think here are some, and those who drink tea a long time, it's still an essential experience. So, for example, this tea called Lui Cha, Hui actually is the name of Uishan Mountains in mainland China. But this type of tea is growing in Taiwan island and in Lugu, specifically in Lugu region, and the village called Dundin. It's a very famous village for Dundin tea. It's Dundin oolong, but now there are no oolong like this already. No type of semi-rolled, not fully rolled. I will send to you cha head. It's called tea box actually. You can a little bit warm up the tea by your breathing. Now no COVID anymore, I hope, so we can smell the tea again, make the tea great again. Yes, so we can smell some tea. And at the same time I will brew it, so you can also, because it's very intense aroma and I want you to introduce it. Actually it's tradition during the tea sessions, we can share the tea with all the guests. First you smell the tea and after you drink it. But now I can't handle all the full ceremony thing, we still more live version. But so this is this type called Ui. Now in Taiwan, almost no farmers grow it, this type. It's came from originally from Uishan. I think it may be something like Zhougui, but not Zhougui. We call it Ui, just Ui. And if you tell to some Taiwanese farmers in Lugu region, like, yeah, I drank some Ui Pinzhou from Taiwan, they will be thinking, oh, you are a very experienced guy because you know this type, because mostly it's not so widespread. Maybe only few farmers still grow. The same like Bai Mao Ho, for example. Only in Pinlin district, I think 2-3 farmers, that's it. No one grow. It's a white hair monkey, yeah, Bai Mao Ho. It's also not oolong, but oolong-like type. And in mainland China, some people do white tea from it, some people do black tea, depending of what do you want to produce. Because from one type of the bush, you can make many different types out of it. And the oolong tea is especially interesting in this because oolong, you can do black tea, you can do white tea, you can do oolong, you can do green, you can do even pu'er out of oolong. Because, for example, in Anxi County, from Tiguanyin tea, we made some shoupu. We just use the same method of fermentation like we use for pu'er. Later we will have, because actually one of my special interests for now is the tea production. We have our own tea factory in Georgia, we have our own tea factory in Thailand, now we're developing one in Vietnam. Hopefully maybe one in mainland China. I had before, but I sold because of, yeah, some more regulations in China occur, so it's not so easy to handle, especially remote. Yeah, but maybe we will do, but not necessary. And we try to develop some kind of new types because yeah, we can't introduce fully new type of tea, but we can play with some local specific types, which, for example, some people do in this area only green tea for centuries, but you bring to them rollers and some fermenting shelves and say, okay, guy, let's do some black tea from this. Like I done in, for example, in Languapian area in Luan, in Anhui province, we try to do some black tea. They never do before. And the same they do like with Anxi, whatever, Shupuer. Yeah, so this is Ui, aged, it's aged tea. It's 40 years old, maybe even more. It's from the beginning of 80s, so it's quite specific. This is why it's also aroma so intense. It have very beautiful balsamic notes, guys. Welcome. To my Chinese friends, I all the time say like it's my favorite teas is aged teas. Not only for the Chinese friends, just 我说老茶我最喜欢的茶. Why? Because actually I think that the aging really gives something really specific to the taste of tea. And as we know with other gourmet products like wine and cheese and some other, even honey, aging brings a really special flavor, aroma, aftertaste, all the other organoleptic characters of the product. And it really develops differently even in the same product depending on how do you store, what do you do during storage. With this type of tea, some farmers, some collectors, they do also additionally bake kind of, they do Hubei, in Chinese it's called Hubei. They do this Hubei, not all the time the same, they have their own tricks and secrets, but there are kind of a rule like at least one time in 4 or 5 years you need to open it, bake it, and get back. And we can store it in a box, we can store it in some jar in form of, okay, ceramic, whatever, it depending on the what this were goal actually. Yeah, but it's interesting. And you can have the same tea from which stored in different regions by different collectors, and it will be completely different. Especially if we talk about pu'er tea, which is most commonly spread like, okay, we know which is aged pu'er, everyone know. Aged oolongs, now a little bit less people. Aged red tea, some people know, some people not. Aged green tea, mostly people don't know that it exists. We say, oh, aged green tea, what is it? It's like, it's spoiled tea, because everyone know green tea, we must drink fresh. But like a few years ago, first time one of my Taiwanese friends, actually also Taiwanese, because I think we are most skilled in collecting aged teas, he introduced to me Lui Cha, which means aged green tea. I was, what? The same reaction, like many of those who know tea for long, I say, how it can be possible, aged green tea. And yeah, it was tea from 60s, you know, so 60 years old aged, or 50, or something like from 70s. And it's incredible. It's incredible. And they know how to store. They also do kind of baking during storage. And first it was just abandoned tea from Europe. Some people re-import back to China, to Taiwan, whatever. And they do some processing on it. And it's absolutely amazing taste. I have some such teas in my collection, sadly not today, but this is the direction I like to go. Of course, we have all the most spreaded tea, okay, like Lunzin tea or some tea guanyin or some other oolongs or green, black, whatever. For me, my passion is aged teas. So this will be all the time in our collection, and we have some very specific types which are rare to find, which is special. Actually, I brought 7 tons of my personal collection to Amsterdam. So we will eat on each session, we will have something from this collection, like this tea. I have thousands of types, personally. Not even hundreds, thousands. Stored for more than 15 years. I collected all the time. Each time I bring something, send something, I keep something for myself, just a little, 1 box, 20 kg. And it's step by step, we have very special collection. This is why it's good to come to such events like today, because we all the time try something very special. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. This is not a lecture. It's difficult to stop me, because also before we have the 5 hours session for Russian-speaking crowd, and I'm already a bit tea drunk, how we call it. So, and I can speak about tea whatever hours till tomorrow. So interrupt me anytime you like. It's my pleasure to share something
Good for such a long period of time.
Yeah. Actually, there was a question how to keep this aged green tea good for such a long period of time, how to store it. Actually, what I already told, to bake it, maybe, but the periods, I don't know. They not share. It's kind of a secret. They can say, okay, once in 5 years, or maybe once a year, or once in 20 years, who cares? But you need kind of baking. And how is baking done? You have a like rock oolong or Moychay oolong tea production. They have a cement, like kind of a stand. Inside there is a hole like this. You put some ash, not ash, but charcoal, wooden, and it can be from fruit woods, and it's covered by some layer of ash. You need to control this layer. It's quite difficult to know which exact layer you need. And on the top you put some bamboo basket with a net in between. It can be metal, it can be bamboo, preferably bamboo, not metal. And there is a temperature from 50 to 70 degrees, and from 6 to 12 hours something, they bake it. And the low, pretty low, how to say, level of tea, not too high. So it may be like 20, 30 centimeters, maybe even less, depending of what type of oolong, what type of tea you bake, and how do you want it, because it's still very organic, and you can play with it. It's kind of art also. Even in Taiwan and also mainland China, in the oolong tea regions, all the masters, they actually have their specification. They are specifying something. So this guy, for example, does semi-product on a production facility. So they do semi-product only. And the other master do baking only, nothing else. So this is also kind of, a gameplay on what do you want to focus on. So this tea, I think I will do last brew. I hope you like it. We will go to the next one. For me, actually, the tea, the only thing I do is tea. I do nothing else. I know nothing about anything, only tea. And a little bit pottery, that's it. I'm very focused in things I do. And I do believe that teas also give you so much benefits and very different kind of benefits, you know. So it's, first it's just a ritual. You can replace any less healthy ritual with this ritual. You can also play on, like okay, all the gourmet aspects. So me, as a hedonist, I really like the tea, all the aesthetics and all the tastes and all the organoleptic thing about tea. And the third thing is a social drink. You can really join during the ceremony. I think all you feel it even now, but you will feel it much stronger after 1 hour. I promise you, you can make a photo of you now and later. Yeah, we will feel it pretty soon. Yeah, and actually, I think this is one of the most important things, because traditionally in Asia, not only China, all the Asian countries, and now also, yeah, in Western countries too, tea became kind of a socializing. Yeah, we just drink tea together, whatever. It can be ceremony, it can be just a mug. Still, it's kind of unity of the family, just friends meeting, whatever. And I think it's one of the best socializing things, because after you don't have a hangover like after alcohol, or you don't have this after coffee thing, because coffee thing, yeah, mug after mug and all these heart muscle shocks because of caffeine. In coffee, it more faster absorbs, and when in tea we have 400 components, which is like all the flavonoids, terpenoids, and other, and you need more time for it, and it's less shocking for heart muscle. In this case, so tea works much better for health. So it's a fourth important thing. So health, socializing, ritual, and gourmet, and at least this. Also, some people add some spiritual thing. Let's keep it to them. I'm not so spiritual. I'm atheist myself, but I like this kind of spiritual aspect in a materialistic perspective, how we can say it. So aesthetics, yeah, aesthetics. It's number 5. Yeah. So the collecting of teaware and play with teaware and all these tiny things is beautiful, and I really enjoy it. And I hope all of those who in tea also enjoy in the park.
This is also oolong tea, right?
Yeah.
But
This is
darker.
yes, it's darker. So the first 2 teas was Taiwanese tea. The first one, as I told, was a lighter Cuifang or Dayuling oolong from high mountain area of Taiwan. This one was aged oolong. And let us try the third one. It will be also roasted tea, but mostly you can say it fermented. It's a black tea, also from Taiwan somehow. I don't know why, but mostly I have Taiwanese teas here. We will drink some Chinese also later. This is called Hun Yun. Actually, it's how Chinese say Xinpinzhong. So new type. It appears only 3-4 years ago, maybe even later. You know Hun Yui. You know Hu Yu is ruby, Hun Cha. Very famous. It's a mix of Camellia assamica and Camellia sinensis. Camellia assamica, Camellia sinensis. So it's have all the strongness of assamica in the combination with all the fruitiness and flavor and feelings of Camellia sinensis. But this one is Hun Yun. Yun is a melody, or depending on the character. I think it's Hun Yun. It's here is a cloud, red cloud, very poetic name. Chinese like poetic things. Not so many people know it because it's still quite rare. It can be found, but quite rare. I hope next year I will also bring some, because now I only had this kind of sample. So it's here in Europe we call this type of tea black tea, but in China everyone call it red tea, Hun Cha, because first traders they just make a kind of mistake. They call it black because of the color, but originally Chinese call it red. But the thing is that in China we also have black tea, which I will also prepare soon. It's called Hei Cha. And this Hei Cha, actually, it's in many provinces in China. It's Hubei, Hunan, also Sichuan, also Guangxi. Even in Anhui province, they also have some Hei Cha. And this actually black tea in Chinese. But now to don't create a chaos in the mind of Western people, because we already have some black tea, which Chinese don't have, because it's red. So we call it dark tea here in Europe. So here we have Hun Yun. Red cloud, new cultivar, I think Taihao 24, or I don't remember the number. You know, in Taiwan we have all these numbers, like number whatever tea, number 18, or for example, Hongyu is number 18, but this one number 23 maybe. Don't remember. So please.
This tea is stored or it's fresh?
It's fresh. It's fresh. It's from last year. No. It's called Hun Yun. It's from Taiwan, and it's it's actually a red cloud. It can be translated.
Yeah, taste is.
Yeah, it's similar, maybe, yeah. But because it's still the same type, same similar technology, but it's still different. Yeah, so guys, why will we finish this tea? We already start the boiling on open fire. Actually, it's ancient tradition, but a little bit, how to say, rebuild it in modern times. It's spread it in the areas there people produce Hei Cha, dark tea. So yeah, I do it in glass pot. Originally, yeah, it was a ceramic pot, not glass one, because it's from Tang Dynasty, and it was firstly described by Lugu, who wrote the most recognized book about tea that times. So it was a collection of all the tales about tea from China. Whereas a specific part about water, and yeah, so this type of boiling tea, it's interesting in a way like you can really open the taste of tea differently. If you do it proper. I will introduce to you, maybe some of you don't know this type, because not so often European tea houses use this type of brewing. It's mostly spread in quite remote areas. Also, it's spread in Eastern Europe, yeah, in some places, but not here. Yeah, so what I do, I will break a piece of this charred wine. I don't know how much it costs now in China. I think enormous amount of money because it's more than 50 years aged. And it was a kind of Hei Cha black tea something, because it's a very small fraction and it was for export, I think, and to that time it was not expensive tea. But now it's a kind of collectible piece. And even what I want to say that about this type of ornament which I have here, I'll later give you to have a look for this cake. Brick, actually, not a cake. Here is still traditional characters. On new molds there are simplified characters which occurs in 60s. So this, or it was done in 60s or earlier, who knows. Maybe, yeah, 70s, but still it's at least 40, 50 years old tea. And you will feel it also by taste, because the taste is quite specific. I found it in one Dutch collector of antiques who had no idea what is it, but he know that, yeah, my father or whatever, or some other relative, I don't remember, bring it from from China or whatever. Yeah, so it's very interesting thing. So yeah, you need to have some power to break the cake because it's very strongly pressed, which is why you need to boil it. Because if you just brew it in a pot, you will need an hour to open it. Yeah, so first I put it in gaiwan in cold water for while the tea warming up. I don't bring my tea knife today, so we will break it by special tea knife. Yeah, perfect, thank you. It's from Hubei province. That's all the thing I know, and it's kind of, by taste, it's a little bit looks like red tea, but originally in Hubei province they make mostly Hei Cha, but their type of Hei Cha is much different from the Hunan province Hei Cha or Luan Hei Cha from Anhui province or Zhang Cha from Sichuan. They're all different. They're all called kind of Hei Cha, but they're completely different. Technology, taste, aroma, whatever. Even in Hunan, they have lighter type of Hun Cha, which is Hei Cha, which is really similar to Shen Pu'er in a way. And also they have really like almost black, very fermented, like Shu Pu'er, almost like Shu Pu'er Hei Cha. Which is why many researchers say that, yeah, the Shu Cha technology, which was developed only in 20th century, in 70s, was based on the technology of production of Hei Cha. Yeah, so this is quite interesting. So yeah, these pieces I will put in gaiwan. For those who don't know, it's cup with a lid. Gaiwan, most common brewing vessel in China. In Sichuan province, they drink just from gaiwan, but all the other places, we just brew it and use it instead of a pot. So for most people in China, if you use teapot, you are master. Most of people use gaiwan because it's affordable, cheap. You don't need to train it for different type of tea because clay, like Christian clay, is better to use for different type of tea, different clays, whatever. But with the gaiwan, you don't have this problem. So you can just brew the tea, enjoy, and don't care. Actually, with teapot, you also can not so be focused. Don't be so nerdy. Maybe I can say that after 20 years in tea only. Before I was much more nerdy than now. Yeah, I think some food needed during such sessions. Yeah.
Why the cold water?
Why the cold water? Because if it will be hot, it will start brewing more intensively and it will a little bit break the experience of really boiling tea. So what we do with boiling tea actually, when we hear the sound, like it's called very poetic, like the sound of broken sticks in pine forest. And then you hear this sound, now I can hear it, but you see it's very, very tiny bubbles. You can put some water to this vessel for a while, and after you look for more bigger bubbles, you put it back, make a spiral and put the tea in and boil it for a while. Different masters do it differently. There are many kind of tricks. I'm not so often do it, but then I found this brick. I understood only way I can prepare it, it's this, not in a pot. So while we prepare this tea, I will also let you try some other from the pot. Let it be something. Yeah, let it be something very special, because also one of my last passions is to do kind of blends of tea. It's not the tea blends you can find in shops, like tea with some artificial flavoring and blossoms or whatever. No, not this. Just tea with tea, nothing else. I do believe that it's quite interesting, because if you mix the tea with a similar fermentation level, even not similar all the time, but you know the balance and the palette of tastes, all these teas, you can really open up some, yeah, it can be beautiful. Yeah, so now we will try some Chao Zhou oolong. It's a Fenhuan Dansong, actually Mi Dao Xiang Dansong, and also Tie Guan Yin oolong, and something else, a little bit of Asamika Gaba from Thailand. All together. Very serious, the masters will kill me after this. Also, what are you doing? You're breaking the tradition. What are you? Okay, you can do that. No one will be, everyone will survive after. Believe me. But main thing is the taste, because I do believe that tea master is a person who needs to introduce good drink to his guests, yes, or her guests. And as soon as the guests enjoy the product, you are a tea master. If not enjoy, you're not. If you have very specific face and very beautiful ifu, how it's called in English, coat or qipao dress, it also not helps. Yeah, actually there was a good question about what type of tea better to prepare boiling. I think for soup-ware, Hei Cha, some red tea and yellow tea also good. Some people also boil even green tea. It's more complicated, also shampoo possible, but it's easy to make it bitter, so you need to have some skills. So to try for the first time, it's better to make soup-ware. It's difficult to spoil. It will definitely be tasty. And also you can do the same on milk. Not on the water, but just the milk instead of water. But very careful, because milk can, if it boils. So it must not boil. You must really control the temperature and see and look for each second, because now also I do two things at once. It's quite complicated to also catch the water in proper time, and at the same time still brewing the same in different vessel. Yeah, so yeah, these types of tea is quite good. Also most of pressed teas, because they are strongly pressed, like shampoo pressed, like for example Tiebing from Dali factory and some others. There are some empty vessels. Can you please send it back to me? Yeah, I see at least two.
This is mix Tiguanin.
Tiguanin, Dansong oolong, and Asamika Gaba from Thailand. Also 3 locations, because it's Guangdong province and Fujian province in mainland China, and also, yeah. Now I will take out some water. I think you feel now with very different taste if you tried before all these types, like Dansong oolong or Chao Zhou Cha, oolong from Guangdong province, northern Guangdong, and Tie Guan Yin, and also Gaba Samika tea, which is black, actually. All together brings some very specific taste. Yeah, I tried many mixes, hundreds of times, and this is one of the most successful ones. I like this combination. But also I can recommend like shou-pu'er and black tea together, like 60% of shou, 40 of black. Like Guangdong oolong and shen-pu'er, 50-50, or different proportion you can change. Some other, it's kind of interesting. And you can really create, especially if you drink tea for long, you can really create very different perspectives of how tea can be prepared and how you can make the flavor out of it. It's quite interesting.
No, kind of there is no traditional blending.
I think just because they have enough, and also because Chinese are more traditional, they don't like to experiment too much in general. But now with modern generation, they more and more start. You know, for example, I have this book, Geography of Chinese Tea, and in China, all the time, in some region, they grow very specific type. Like here we grow that type of tea, there we grow this type of tea, process it this way, and will never change it for centuries sometimes. And now more and more young farmers will say, okay, why we don't do this tea? Why we don't grow other types on the same soil? I have, okay, 50 hectares or 1 hectare, who cares? I can do a lot of things on it. I don't need to do only one type or only two types, which is more specific for this region. And now more and more farmers, they really start being, like kind of trying to, because also marketing wise, you have more types, you have more assortment, you can sell to more bigger market. So now I know some farmers who grow up to 40, 50 types of tea in one farm only. And the same with the preparing of tea. Yeah, some people start more experimenting, and sometimes you don't even know it. Even I can don't know something. Even if I spent more 10 years in China, it can be the same. Like this year I traveled to China after 3 years of delay. It was something very special because I was like, wow, what's happening? I found some new types in the same regions. Like this Hunyun in Taiwan also I found only last year. So it was quite interesting. Yeah. Now I just put the water back after I found the first big bubble, and we almost see like water start bubbling, but not yet. But I think maybe it's not the time fully, but we can do it already. You do the spiral because you bring some oxygen to the water, and you put the tea. First I just flush this cold water out of the tea. More spiral. Yes. And because it's super strong, you need to boil it a little bit. Actually, if you do some yellow tea, you must be much more delicate, maybe not boil too long. Some other types, it depends. It's actually, you can play the amount of tea, what type of tea you put, what size of vessel, even type of water also important, so it all depends. But for this very strong tea, you can really boil a little bit to open up it, because it's boiled for long and it's still not dark. And the main interesting thing about this tea, because it's very old and it's small fraction, and if it's fresh, it's super bitter if you boil it this way. And I put maybe up to 25-30 grams. It's a lot for only 2 liters here, 1/8. Yeah, so now it's almost ready. I still boil it on low temperature. Let it boil more longer. Yeah, and it's okay. And now we just wait for while the old tea gets down, maybe 5 minutes, and we can drink it. But while we wait, we will drink one more tea. I just finished my blend now, and I think we can try also one of my very favorite teas. It's from 80s. It's also 40 years aged. So it's from Taiwan somehow. I don't know. My favorite teas are all from Taiwan, actually, most of. And this is called Bao Zhong Cha. Bao Zhong, it means like when you pack something, like, so it means rolling kind of. Yeah, but so Bao Zhong Cha, and it's from Pinling County of Taiwan, the northern territory of Taiwan. It belongs to Taipei City actually, but it's almost on the way to the eastern part of Taiwan, which is much less inhabited, even northern part, because there are much more typhoons from the ocean. And there's also earthquakes in Hualan City quite often. I even was in once. It was a wonderful experience. Don't wish you to feel this experience. Actually, and they have now the local tea called Wenshan Bao Zhong. Quite known, but not so known tea outside of Taiwan, because it's kind of very fluffy, it's difficult for shipping, and also it's very light in the taste. So most of Westerners prefer more darker in a way, more roasted in a way. And also Alishan is much more touristy attraction, and so people just more known these types from high mountain area, or Nantou, or like Xizishun, Alishan, Oolong, whatever. Yeah, but the Wenshan Bao Zhong still quite recognized for tea specialists, they know. And before they had this Wenshan in beginning of Bao Zhong. We just call it Bao Zhong Cha. And so this is from the ages of Bao Zhong Cha only. So it's kind of oolong. And the type is originate also from Hubei mountains in mainland China, but it was adapted in Taiwan, and it became different. I will also give you to smell because it's very special type. Really one of my favorite teas from all my collection. Later maybe we will have some limited amount for sale because I have like 5 kg. But that's all I have. The farmers who store this tea, they have a biggest collection of aged tea in Taiwan. So they are kind of, before they had the shop, now they only work for wholesale because we don't need retail customers. And they even don't run a farm too much. They still have some farm, but now they don't care, only selling aged tea. Mostly to customers from Macau and Hong Kong and Singapore. Because this area is also biggest amount of flowers of aged tea, I think, in Singapore and Taiwan and Hong Kong. And of course, mainland China, it's Guangzhou and maybe Fujian now also, because there is a trend for aged white tea was started like 10-15 years ago. Also aged white tea, like people start also collecting, but much later. Before it was mostly pure tea, oolong tea only.
Is it aged tea too?
Yes, this is aged. This is 40 years old.
40 years. It's similar with oolong?
Yeah, it's oolong. It's oolong. It's just a little bit different type. And also, this is a little bit roasted. It was also nowadays Wenshan Bao Zhong tea, classical Wenshan Bao Zhong tea, mostly lighter roasted. That time we do more harder roasting. They make also baking the same technique like rock tea, like Moychay oolong tea, the similar. You can try. I think the oldest tea I tried was around 110 years. Yeah, and oldest tea I have, quite specific, but also have all the characters we have now, but just more deep in a way. And also I have my oldest tea, my collection I have from the same factory. Actually, interesting fact about this tea we drink now, I've also sent to you to have a look. The factory was founded by Russians in 19th century, end of 19th century. And I have a bricks from Vysotsky Tea Company, which later moved to Israel with Russian and Chinese characters on it, from 1895 something. Yes, it's a half of the same brick and even the same ornament here, but here's a different mold. Yeah, so it's quite interesting. You can have a look at this. This is a kind of museum piece which regularly installed in museums, but sometimes can be found in Netherlands and Belgium. Because I think one bunch was shipped there and some people still keep it. So this is why I visit often all these markets, because I found one, it's cover all my year work to research.
For this very old and...
Yeah, they're actually, nowadays we still do the same molds, but just a different mold, simplified Chinese, not the classical traditional one. And also even they do some traditional to fake the same bricks. So the looks appears the same, but taste not like this. So you can even see it like type AliExpress, Hubei Cha, Hubei brick. And you will see the same picture, but it's not the same. The same with all these Moychay tea cakes from famous factories, because yeah, it's something which costs a lot and people like to also profit from it somehow, even if it's not real.
For this such an old tea, what do you think about it? Because the tea should be stored in like kind of neutral place.
Yeah.
For such an old tea.
Who knows?
Okay.
Yeah, all trying to live and so on.
Is it part of this?
It's part of experience.
Yeah, it's like some just absorbed.
Molded, whatever. But I don't think it is. But actually, I checked, and especially Chinese do a lot of checkups for all these toxic kind of mold, but not here. Actually, it was dry.
Just some surrounding aromas can be absorbed.
Yeah. But this is right. Yeah, actually, but first I just smell the tea and I see and I ask how do they store. I say I just store it on a shelf with the books because it looks like book.
Okay. Okay. So I
This was his answer.
think I can taste some books.
Yeah, maybe.
How recognize the fake?
By taste, only by taste. Actually, it was an interesting question how to recognize the fake aged tea from real aged tea. It's not only about this one, but as soon as you know, you need to have kind of knowledge and experience to rightly distinguish what is real aged tea about. So as soon as you once try the good one, you will never mix it with new one, because to make it looks like old, they make very wet conditions, like 100% humidity, and out after that people just the tea start really ferments very fast, but it's over fermenting. So after that the tea can be not tasty actually. Yeah, so this is why you can really distinguish by the taste. You will try. Yeah, it's something not so deep, not so fruity in a way, maybe more earthy, more wet taste. But actually the taste of this tea also for those who like not tried aged tea before also can be like a bit weird. But if you drink tea along, you will find out. Actually, I value this type of taste, and I think it's quite special. It's like if you'd give for people who drink regular just a lighter sweet wine, give them some dry wine or some whiskey aged whiskey, and wow, what's it? I don't drink alcohol, but I know all my friends who are also 70 years for alcohol or for barista for coffee, or some like tea pairers who also do some gourmet cheese, whatever. It's all still similar product in a way, but just not so developed here in Europe yet. Hopefully will be developed by our hands and other enthusiasts who really want to bring quality out of quantity. So now we have very short break, 10-15 minutes. You can relax a bit, walk away, whatever, sit, relax, meditate. Yeah, and 8 p.m. we start a matcha workshop, so you can sit down on the same place. Better to don't swap places, will be complicated a bit. Just remember your place. Yeah, thank you very much.